Scottish folklore. It's filled with tales of supernatural beings, and among the most feared are the blue men of the Minch. These mysterious creatures are said to dwell in the waters of the Minch. That's the strait separating mainland Scotland from the outer Hebrides. The Hebrides are a group of islands off Scotland's west coast, and they're known for their breathtaking landscapes, rugged shores, and rich Gaelic culture. With the Minch's strong currents and sudden storms, it's easy to understand why sailors created stories to explain the unpredictable nature of these waters. The blue men of the Minch, known as Nafir Gorma in Scottish Gaelic. They're described as human-like figures with blue-tinted skin and amazing swimming skills. They aren't just ghostly apparitions. Legends depict them as physical beings who can interact with the real world. Stories often describe their long, lean limbs and intense eyes that glint beneath the surface, making them look both intimidating and otherworldly. Their existence in folklore highlights the very real dangers that sailors face through the rough North Atlantic seas. Where these legends originated is quite uncertain, but they likely come from old Celtic beliefs about water spirits, blended over the centuries with the lore of the sea. The color blue, commonly linked to both the ocean and the supernatural, adds to the mystery surrounding these beings. One of the most unique parts of the Blue Men legend is how they test sailors with rhymes and riddles. As ships entered their territory, the Blue Men would rise from the waves and approach, demanding a back and forth of words. Their leader, who spoke for the group, would start off with a riddle or a verse. The captain had to respond quickly and cleverly, and if the captain failed to answer correctly or satisfy the Blue Men, they'd whip up a violent storm, crashing waves against the ship and threatening to sink it. These riddles weren't just harmless games. They were battles of wits. The ability to answer was seen as a way to prove a sailor's worth. This aspect of the legend reflects the Celtic love of storytelling and poetry, where quick thinking and cleverness were quite valued. The Blue Men of the Minch represent the unpredictable and dangerous nature of the sea in this region. Sailors had to respect and understand the ocean's ever-changing moods, and tales of the Blue Men served as warnings to be cautious and prepared. The Minch's rough waters, swirling tides, and sudden squalls were easier to grasp when imagined as the work of supernatural beings, capturing the imagination of those who made their living at sea. The legend also speaks to humanity's attempt to explain nature's wrath. By giving storms and shipwrecks a mythical cause, ancient sailors found a way to make sense of the uncontrollable. The riddles added a sense of agency, suggesting that sometimes human wit could overcome nature's chaos. A hopeful thought in an otherwise harsh and unpredictable world. Today, the legend of the Blue Men of the Minch remains part of Scotland's vibrant oral tradition. The story endures in songs and books and local lore, enriching the cultural identity of the Hebrides and surrounding areas within the region. And it continues to remind people of the ocean's immense power and the resilience of those brave enough to head out into the waters. It is interesting if we stop and think for a moment about the legend of the Blue Men of the Minch through folklore in Scotland. And then if we reflect on some of the stories that we recall from Japan and blue creatures rising from the sea there, remember the sea monks, right? It's interesting when you start to traverse the globe through folklore and you start to see common threads. It kind of really gets you thinking. Could there maybe be something more in the water that our ancestors knew about, but has been lost to time? These are interesting things with JC.